Welcome everybody to chapter 21. Today, on the 21st chapter, we are going to be learning about how the spheres are organized in the shape of a human, in the shape of a man. And probably many of you have been familiar with the pictures of Kabbalah with these circles, these triangles, circles, and everything that you see, we've learned a lot till we got to this point. This is the point where we're going to learn about how the spheres are organized. And it's actually a person who studies Kabbalah and doesn't know what we've learned till now. That's a problem because they don't know how to connect it to higher. So we've learned how to connect what I'm about to learn to what's higher. So let's just start learning, and we're going to see. We're going to see the way the spheres are organized. And this is called, there's a way to organize the spheres one on top of another, and that's chaotic, because there's no flexibility. It's once something's of the essence, it can't change. And that could be a good thing, that could be a bad thing, depends when. But definitely now what we're going to learn is the setup of the spheres in a way as in the shape of a man, and it's definitely not chaotic. This is called tikkun. Everything has its place and everything has flexibility in order to accomplish the ultimate end state. Let's go. Chapter 21. I don't see it. Oh yeah, yes I do. Now, with what we've learned till now, we can understand the general idea of how the spheres can actually function dynamically with each other. The inyan hiskalulus, like they are all part of a holistic one, hiskalulus, to join together with a bigger whole. The gimel kavim, and it's really shaped in 3 lines. The netzalim. Netzalim is when God sort of takes light from himself and creates a personality with which we could relate to. So the 10 spheres, we know the 10 spheres, we've learned it many times. However, when we organize it in a way of tikkun, in a shape of like a human, so Hachan Mil Yamin, it's an acronym. Chachan is an acronym for Chachma, insight, which is housed in the right brain. Chesed, kindness, which is housed in the right hand for a righty. And Netzach is the idea of winning, which is housed in the right thigh. And well, it depends. The inner aspect of Netzach is housed in the kidney. The outer aspect of Netzach of winning is housed in the right thigh. So let's say that again. Chachma, insight, is housed in the right brain. Chesed, kindness for most people, is housed in the right hand. Netzach is housed in the right thigh. Now, you could also say that it's the right lung, is the inner housing of chesed, of kindness. You could say that. And the external housing of kindness, which means the way kindness deals with other people, would be on the right hand. Miyamin, it's on the right side of the body. Because we are made in the image of God, so our body is going to be a metaphor for the way these spheres function and is a cohesive oneness, holistic oneness. Baga Masmel, and that's an acronym. Base Gimel Hey is on the left side. What is that? Bina is comprehension, is in the left brain. Gvura is strictness and focus. It's housed in the left hand. Hoid is majesty. In Yiddish, you would say Schenkeit, niceness. The reason why it's nice is because a person sticks their ground, does not compromise, does not consent. And when a person does that, that's really beautiful. So that's Hoid. It's housed in the left thigh, masmel on the left side. Vidati, another acronym. Das is the back brain and also the forehead. It's in the center. Tiferes is beauty, balance. In modern Hebrew, they say izun, like balance, like ears. Izun is ears, like two ears have to be like balanced, not one higher than the other. So that's Tiferes, beauty. That's housed in the main core of the body core. Yusoid is the organ of attachment. Be'emsa, that's in the middle of the body. One more time. Das is the brain of focus, the basic, the brain that knows what to focus on. It's in the back of the brain and behind and the forehead as well. Tiferes, beauty, is housed in the center of the body. Yesod is the organ of connection, of attachment at the bottom of the body. Be'emsa is in the middle. And like it's written in the Kabbalah Sefer book called Pardes, which means an orchard, but it's an acronym for 4 ways of studying Torah. Pshat, Remez, Drus, and Soy. Pshat is like the basic human experience. Remez is the big ideas behind the human experience. Pardes, Drush is the skills and what life demands from us. And Soid is the secret behind everything, the overarching concepts, the spheres. So that's the orchard. And in that book called the Orchard, they explain these things, how a human is set up. Now, the Pnimius HaKeser, now we're going to say, like in every sphere, there is the Pnimius, the inner aspect, the Emtsois, the middle aspect, and the Chitzonius, and the external aspect. So Pnimius, usually we say it's like the internal things, like your thoughts. Emtsois is like your internal emotions. They get you to move, but they're not totally seen by others necessarily. That we call the middle. And external aspect would be the way our emotions interact with others and interact with the world. But that's not what we're going to say over here. We're going to say Pnimius is only one level. It's the head of the crown. Yeah, somebody asked the question, can we create a diagram? Will the Kabbalists sort of do a diagram of circles? I wasn't taught to do that. I would just use in your mind, just use the diagram of the human body. Because that's the breast vessels that could describe what we're talking about. But the some Kabbalistic books, and I believe this is valid, that they draw these circle pictures of like three circles on top of the 3 circles. And hopefully we're going to review them again. Well, we can watch this video again and get it clear, because I think I explained it. So let's go. Let's go further. The Pnimius HaKeser, the internal aspect of the crown, is not what I just explained, how we're going to divide everything into 3. No. Pnimius HaKeser, the internal aspect of the crown, and the Keser Shebekesser, which is called the crown of the crown. A crown is what drives people to do what they do. When nechlach legimul kavim, it's not divided into 3 lines, right, left, and center. It's not divided into lines. But the external aspect of the crown, from it gets divided into three lines of energy. And we're saying the external aspect of Keser is already from Chachma Keser. You understand what he's saying? He's doing something different. He's saying that Keser has 10 spheres and the crown. The crown itself has 10 spheres and a crown. So there's the crown of the crown. That's the only part which we're going to call the inner aspect of the crown. And there are other 10, in other words, there's 11. So the other 10, starting from Chokhmah, starting from inside, is already divided into 3 lines. You know, in the Marines, you have a team. A team is often 3 people as a team. So basically, teams into a 3. That's from inside and onwards. But the crown of the crown does not divide into 3. And like it's known in the intent when we daven the 18 blessings every day, 3 times a day, the special prayer where we hold our feet together. And the first blessing, we say the words Agodol, great, Giber. Giber is like a warrior. Nera means awesome. The great, powerful, and awesome, basically. But really what it's referring to is Hagodol refers to God's great kindness in creation. Hagiber, the strong one, refers to God as being a giver, giver, strict. He gives everything in the appropriate proportion, not to overwhelm its creations. And that's greatness, that's like power. So the great kindness in creation, the powerful one, the Hagiber, Vanera, and the awesome one. And you notice that he adds the word V, which means V is shaped like a hook, means and in Hebrew. So it means and the awesome one. And the Vav, that hook, the word and is also a straight line. It's a hook and a straight line. It shows that the middle path goes all the way up to the crown of the crown. In other words, the right side and the left side, they start in insight, they start in comprehension, but the center side, the center line connects V, like it's like an elevator. The Vav, that the first letter over there, which means ends as an elevator, which connects all the way up. Because if you connect to the balance, the Tiferes, if you collect to Yesod, which is the proper attachment, and if you have that correct, you're going to go like an elevator. It's going to go all the way up to the crown of the crown, to the essence of God. So that's why it's the third and greatest praise, the awesome one. Think about that when you daven Shemona Esrei, when you pray the prayer. That's his intent. That's why he brought it over here. An explanation of what we're going to of this whole explanation is Hine bechinas iskalos akavim yamin v'smel hu alidei kavim tzayir. What do we mean? The ability of the right line and the left line to become part of a holistic whole, that is through the middle line. Kavaim tzayir, the middle line, davka specifically. The line of balance is able to connect the right and left together. And the explanation is like this: the kav hayamin, because the right side hachein, which is in chachein, chochma, inside, chesed, kindness, netzach, victory, winning. Harya chesed anaf hachma. What happens is kindness is a branch of insight. But it's separated from it. However, it's branches from it. How? That's because kindness flows from intellect. Vatam, and the reason why kindness stems from intellect, because intellect will skew, I don't mean in a bad way, will turn the brain towards kindness. B'davar murkav kanal, especially when we're not speaking about an essential something that's not of the essence. And what do we mean that? Because insight just looks at one point. So when you look at one point of a person, it says, in general, this guy's good. I'm not going to go into the nitty gritty details. Insight looks at the main point. And the main point is this person is good. He has some good about him. And therefore, it's appropriate that I have kindness to him and the other creations. And also the idea of going out, to being a go-getter, to win, to accomplish, it actually stems from kindness, from love. However, it's separated from it. It gets a life of its own. Because could be that the original motivation to win is out of love of something, but once that emotion of winning gets activated, it has a life of its own. So even if a person doesn't actually feel love, they will still carry out the victory. Because kindness, love for something, obligates us to win. In order to bring the kindness into actuality. Like if a person loves their country because of the country of kindness, and therefore that kindness motivates a person to go to war to protect the ideals of that country, to win, or to actually accomplish and make sure that people get the kindness, people get the soup kitchen, whatever it is. The kava small, however, the left side, the opposite happens. It's the brain moves the thinking towards judgment. Because from the left brain, from details, comprehension, comes judgment. Like a woman naturally is more deep delve comprehension. She doesn't be careful. She's going to start nitpicking on everything if she's not careful. And then she won't, she'll find fault. A man will do it as well. But I'm saying naturally, a man is more going to, look holistically and say it's all good. And a woman naturally is going to start to find fault because she looks for details. So we have to make sure our mind is on check. Is that really reality? Should we be going into the details? Anyway, but the detailed thinking comprehension brings to judgment. That's why bina brings to mightiness and strictness. It says in a verse. It says in a verse, I am bina, I am comprehension, and to me is strictness. Because that's that way of thinking is going to bring to that emotion. Because insight, wisdom in insight turns to kindness, because holistically the person is good. But from comprehension comes judgment. We're going to start nitpicking. We're going to find fault, everything that's wrong. It says in the tree of life from a Chaim Vital that Abba, the father is a metaphor for insight, because usually the father looks ahead and he has more insight. He is the source of kindness. And the mother, which is comprehension, is the source of the gvures kiyudua. It actually makes sense. The mother she has to make sure to see details to make sure the child is protected. It's a natural thing that God created. The base kavim halalu she'avol is chaber makom echad, to bring these two paths, two sides, and they should come together in one place. This is through kavim tzai, the middle path, the middle line. The das tiferet yesod of the middle of the das is the focus brain at the back of the brain, and like the forehead. Tiferet is the main body of the person, and Yesod is the vessel for attachment, the bottom of the body, the middle of the body. Now the das focus, if you know how to focus, a person can move their intellect from kindness to a type of intellect that brings judgment and finding fault. V'nikra das, and this is called das, like data in English, data, but it's not about data, it's about how you choose to frame that data. That's what a human is. Computers have data, but a human is able to choose how they frame that data, which path should they take. Like it's written, ki yetzer leiv. Oh, it says by Noach that God said the way the heart of a man is set up is bad, and therefore I need to bring purify the world through water. Then afterwards, God said, "Well, this is the way the man thinks, and we can't blame them for it, and I'm not going to do this again." The same intellect afterwards was used to find merit, and the same intellect at the beginning what brought fault, made them liable. Like it says, before the flood, God saw that much is the bad of people. By the way, it's only when they institutionalize the bad, that's when it really, because then they didn't have any hope of changing their ways. If a person does something bad, they can repent, they can return to themselves, they can change their ways. But if that's the institution, so then what can they basically destroying themselves. People are destroying themselves if they institutionalize bad. Okay, there's a similar situations where you can use the same intellect. They can move it this way and that way. A good, it's like the prosecutor and the defender. And both the prosecutor and the defender can use the same intellect to protect the person or to find fault in the person. It turns out that with the focused brain, it's possible to have two opposite ways of thinking. The person could decide they're going to divide up the situation, and in a certain aspect they're going to go towards kindness, and in another aspect they're going to go to judgment. I'll tell you, a good judge will look at the person, will say, "Oh, this person created such a crime." However, their backstory is very difficult. He sort of didn't have a chance to grow up in a different way. So the judge will say, "I'm going to have to lock you up because you're a danger to society." I mean, an honest judge. However, so I'm going to be judge you in this way. However, I'm going to make the terms more kind because of your backstory, right? So the judgment will not be completely one way. I'll make your terms kind, and what they should do is really, you're going to get an education, and you're going to get the help you need to be able to, when you come out, you'll rebuild your life. But that's not the way the system is built. I wish it was, but the system is built maybe for profit, so it's not necessarily conducive to creating such rehabilitation on a large scale. But that would be proper. That would be proper, where you can have kindness and strictness in one thing. Some aspects of kindness, some aspects of strictness. That's beauty. And similar things we could do to make kindness, strictness in one place. So the emotion of the beauty is the scale that creates some sort of middle ground between kindness and strictness, which that is like compassion. Compassion is only after there is judgment. Shim kol zeh, let's go on the next page. Sha'al kol zeh. Rachmanus patre, compassion vindicates the person. In other words, you can't really have compassion if you're not aware of what the judgment is. I'm aware of the judgment, and nevertheless, compassion tells me to be compassionate on you. And this is the emotion of Jacob, of Yaakov. Yaakov was the man of balance, Kedua. When he would educate his kids, he would say, you did this wrong and that's not good. Face the bad. Nevertheless, on the other hand, you have a great potential. I see you have a great potential, and embrace that as well. And that is the aspect of the truth of compassion, because we're not just looking at one side. We're looking at the bigger picture. You have to be aware of the strictness and the kindness and create a balance between them. And that is what compassion is. Rachamanus, compassion. As he said, guess what? The middle, which is Yesod, the foundation. By a person's personality, it's called Yesod because like a tabletop, and you can have many things on a tabletop, and yet it's one tabletop. So to a foundation of a personality is you can have various emotions, but you're still the same person. It's not like two personalities. That's a Yesod. He's able to create a balance between two opposites of Netzach V'Hod, whether you decide to go for it, to pull the trigger and buy the house or whatever it is, V'Hod, or you're just going to stick your ground and not comply because it's against your principles. Shu inyan klayus yitzis, the idea of finding a balance between the two emotions is the idea that it says that the kidneys give advice. The kidneys have hormones on top of them, which impact a person's ability, a person's way they're going to make a balance, whether they're going to go for it or they're going to hold back. Pain v'lav, netzach and hod, winning and beauty, or recognizing the truth and sticking by it, is the yes and the no. Sometimes it's a yes, and the hod is the no. You got to know how to say no. And you have to balance that up. Koidem hatshpa'as hamashpia, before the giver of sustenance can actually deliver anything useful. Shetzarech lashpia etzem amides chesed v'gvura. The teacher has to be able to give over the essence of the kindness and strictness, but he knows he's not going to get to that end state unless he creates a balance between winning and holding back, between the yes and the no, between the go and the stop. I'm going to look at the questions soon. When you make a decision, people, you have stages. The first one is shikol adas. Shikol is weighing up, like you have those weights on both sides. Shikol adas, and the das, the focus brain, needs to weigh up the upside and the downside of things. Bachra means how you're gonna go towards the right side or towards the left side, towards the kindness or towards the strictness. Is it more love or is it more fear? Vacha achra, and after the scale tips one way, hachra means that scale tips one way. There's a second process that happens inside. Yishkol b'maznei tzedek she'ein netzach v'hoid. Then we need to weigh up. This is second set of scales, internal scales, she'ein netzach v'hoid, which is the idea of winning or sticking to the truth. Why? Because just because I decided something doesn't mean that if I express it the way I decided, it's going to get to that end state. I have to ask a second question. How can I deliver this message to others, to the receiver? And this is the idea of the middle these are the middle the middle path. The middle path, the middle scales, they're able to connect the right path and the left side. Nikra Yud Beis Gvulei Alachse. And the way the emotions can be put together into a way that is balanced according to each situation, it's called the 12 Gvulei boundaries. Alachsen is an angle, kiyudua, like it's known. I'm going to explain this. Listen carefully. I'm going to explain this because it's not a good not a good place to break yet. When you're sitting in a room, the 6 sides, the floor, the 4 walls, and the ceiling represent different emotions. The right side, the right wall represents kindness. The left wall represents strictness. Going up represents winning. Going down represents sticking your ground, hoid. Going forward is tiferes, beauty. And taking a step back is attachment. In order to attach, you have to give people space. You have to create boundaries. Then people feel comfortable that they can attach. So you need to take a step back. So you want to attach, but if you just go forward, you're going to create the opposite emotion in others. So you need to take a step back to give them their space till they feel comfortable. You can attach. In any relationship and teaching. The kava inside nikra barich hatichen shemavrich min hakotze al hakotze. It's known that the middle path, the middle line, it's like the middle bar. That there was different bars when they put together the sanctuary in the desert, Moses, and there was different bars that held up the panels. But there was one bar that miraculously was able to bend in the middle, and by divine miracle, and it went from one side of all the walls to the other side of all the walls, because it's able to do that. It's able to do that miracle. V'hainu, and this is what it means on a spiritual level. She'oila ad bechinas pnimius hakeser. That if you take the middle path, it can elevate you to the inner. It can elevate you to the inner crown. Sorry, that is higher than the division of 3 lines. And this is where we were saying it could be chaotic, but this is the good side of the inner part of Keser. In Kenyesh B'Keichel Chaber, it has the ability to connect up the three lines and balance them. V'lichlal beis hakavim, and to make the two sides part of oneness. There's a full stop over here. Let's answer the questions, Rabbi Smith. Possible.
Okay, so question number 1. Why is it now that people do not see beauty in the balance between kindness and strictness? I observe that people only want kindness.
Interesting thing. You know, when you stand in front of a person, your right hand corresponds to their left hand. And my left hand corresponds to their right hand. Because if I'm going to give too much, I'm going to overwhelm them, and the end state will not be kind to the person. Whereas if I come strict and I challenge them a little bit, so the end state will be kindness. So if people have to win their freedom, if people are just given the freedom, they will not appreciate the freedom, and then when they're challenged, they can lose their freedom. And when they're challenged, they can lose their freedom. Because they never experienced, they never had to fight for it. So if I'm going to be a good educator, I'm going to make them work hard. I'm going to be strict with them. I'm going to work hard for their freedom. They're going to appreciate what freedom is. And then the end state will be they will have real freedom because they earned it. Because they appreciated it. They asked for it. They prayed for it. They worked for it. So people may want kindness, but it actually, the only way the end state will be kind is if there's an appropriate balance. I want to just say that in the cultures of the world, there's the children of Esav, brother of Yaakov. Esav is a person that's internally very strict. He became the father of the Romans. However, he responds to the opposite, you see? He responds well to the opposite, to kindness. And that's the way that it's good to approach the children of the Romans. However, the Yishmael, his uncle, he was internally kind. Let's say, I would say kindness in a way of grandeur. Like Dubai, like the city of Dubai is like really like Yishmael style. Really nice, really grandeur. However, because he is that type of chesed and kindness, he responds well to somebody that's like a warrior. So he wants people not to be kind. He wants people to be like to negotiate tough, like strict. And that's what's respected in that sort of culture. Just pointing that out. I mean, I hope that answers the question why certain people want certain things.
Next question is, when you say the bottom of the body is connection and attachment, are you referring to the pelvic region, sacrum?
Yeah. Yeah. That's physical attachment in order to bring a child into the world. But there's also another pipe, which is the speaking pipe, is in order to communicate wisdom with other people and to organize kindness and organize together. That is the other pipe where we speak. And that's how we relate to most of the world. So it depends what way we are trying to accomplish.
Okay, great. Winning or sticking to the truth? Question mark. The two are opposed? Question mark.
So winning means that I think I can accomplish this, what I love, and I believe I can bring it to the entire world. Victory. I can be successful. Hoid is the opposite. I may not be successful, but I'm still going to recognize what's the truth, and I'm going to stick by it, and I'm going to dig my heels in the ground, and that's why it's called Shane, why it's called beautiful, because I'm going to be brave in a different way. So in a way, they're the opposite, because one requires me to take the action of going out. The other one requires me to take the action of knowing what's right myself and sticking to that. So that's why it's the opposite.
Okay, great. Next question. Are the children of the Romans the Gentiles?
Well, you would think that it's depends where. I mean,
Isn't the word Gentile as a general term that's used to refer to all non-Jewish nations?
Yeah, but I think the children of the Romans would be. I mean, where did the Roman Empire move to? It moved through entire Europe. They made settlements in England. They made settlements in Germany. They made settlements in Spain, and then a lot of those people moved to the United States. So a lot of people would be grandchildren from Esau, and they respond to kindness, just the way God did it. It's a good thing. Well, okay.
Next question. How do I know the difference between winning and truth? If I'm standing for the truth, I may also feel I will win.
Maybe you need divine assistance to be able to win. It's good to believe that we're going to win. But even if we don't, we will still stick to the truth. It's a little bit like Japanese in a way. Like we're gonna. Well, next, okay.
I think those are the questions. Thank you.
Okay. Now we're going to explain the idea of the inner part of Keser, which we're saying is the Netzalim is the creation of Atzilus, the world of Atzilus, which is the building of God's personality as we can relate to Him. And it's called the Keser, the crown of the crown. And this is the next level. The next level, we said that first there's Kav, then is Adam Kadmon, and then Kav and Adam Kadmon, which is basically reveal themselves in two levels, Atik Yomin and Arech Anpin. Atik, the attic, the disconnected, the higher days, Arech Anpin and the big face. Big face means on an emotional level. And the Keser, the crown of that, the crown is, it's not divided into three parts, but it has the ability to unite everybody together for one mission. And that's what a crown can do. You know, like Alexander the Great, he got the father of, supposed father of Alexander the Great, was able to unite a bunch of Greek empires together, right? That's what a Keser does, a crown. It puts a lot of nations under one empire. So what is our Atik Yemin higher days Arachanpin is the Rotzen. Rotzen is the big faces. What I want, Batainug is the accomplishment, the pleasure that comes in a revealed way. V'nikra Erakesa Shigam Shu Kala Miyutzviris. And by the way, even the crown of the crown has 10 spheres. B'chinas Chachma, and it also has an insight, Shubekeser, inside the crown. Vuatam leroten, and it becomes the reason for wanting what it wants. Nikra tamas leroten, it becomes a hidden reason. A hidden reason for why I want this thing. I can't really articulate it yet, but I have some sort of reason. and also in the crown of the crown, it has kindness, it has winning, va'kol bebechinas harotzein. But it's all part of the want. Shu bilti mugbal. It's unlimited. Even though at this point in time it's becoming revealed from the hidden want, which for the hidden want, Arachanpin and Natakemim. One second.
I want to mention it's 2 minutes to 9 if you were planning to finish at 9.
I need to finish. We're going to finish this because we can't leave it hanging in the middle. It's unlimited. It became revealed. It was hidden in the Kav. It was hidden in Adam Kadmon. But now it's becoming revealed. But it's not up for discussion at this point in time. And therefore the emotions in this want and in this sense of accomplishment are called the older days. In contrast to the way the emotions the spirits of chachma, of wisdom and insight and bina, comprehension and detailed thinking, that come in a limited way, according to the way the brain decides, hagalu, in a revealed way, bilvad, only according to what the intellect allows or justifies. And this, in the keser itself, keser, the crown of the crown, it has all these 10 aspects, and then it has the idea of communication, of expression, malchus, the kingship, leadership, malchus shebekesa, umbechinas hitzenis the kesa, lechlag l'gimel. Now, why does the crown of the crown have all these spirits? But that they are not up for negotiation, and that's why it's not divided into three parts. It's unlimited. However, but now the external aspect of keser, that is from the creation of insight, that's when nechlak gimel kavim, it can be divided into 3 lines. Because when you have a reason, a hidden reason for wanting what you want, it already starts to divide up the want, l'chesed uvura, to what you want and what you love and what you fear, umemutza, and something between them. Aval keser shebekesa, however, the crown of the crown, that's higher from any reasoning, really a dain rak rotzen pashuk. It's really just a simple rotzen. Batzmi, it is essential rotzen. A bloitam klal, there's no reason for it. K'entam l'rotzen klal, because you can't really say why I want what I want. I just want it because I want it, because that's who I am. I want it because that's who I am. That's the way it is. Gam loitam kamos, and it even can't have at this point in time a hidden rotzen. There are times in history where God told the wise people, be quiet, because that's what came up in my thought. I cannot articulate the reason for this. It's not that there isn't the reason, but it can't be articulated. Like it's explained in another place. Therefore, if it's not up for any negotiation, it's more my essence, then it cannot be divided into right or left. Even though it's already becoming revealed. But what we are revealing is we're revealing the Adam Kadmon. So it's the next level of Adam Kadmon, has this aspect of taking what was the unbelievable desire that's hidden, that's still hidden, and now it's revealed, but it's not negotiable. It doesn't have three sides yet. Canal, you test, like we explained at the end of chapter 19. And that's why it says that in the temple, or in the sanctuary in the desert as well, there was a curtain which separated between the holy and the holies of holies. So what the holy of holies is the crown of the crown, and the room which is called the holies, which is separated by a parsa, which is a curtain, that is the inside of where the inside of the crown begins. That's in the architecture of the temple. However, in the architecture of the human body, we also have this metaphor. In the brain, there is a membrane, kruma, membrane, sounds similar. Kruma, membrane, that is around the brain, and that is like the curtain between the Holy of Holies and the Holy. So what's inside the brain, inside the membrane, is the Holy. That's where you have insight and comprehension and all the 10 spheres start. But around, outside of the membrane, you have a liquid I forgot what the name of the fluid is. We used to think it's just to cushion the brain from getting smacked against the wall of the skull, but it does more. It also feeds the brain, the cerebral spinal fluid. So that's cerebral fluid around the brain actually is a vessel for the crown of the crown. That is the vessel for the crown of the crown. At that point in time, that liquid of life around the brain is a vessel for the crown of the crown, and it's not up for negotiation. Whatever a person wants at that level is not up for reasoning and negotiation. So only when it goes through the membrane, which is through the curtain, into the brain, that's when things get divided up into three sides, and the right brain, left brain, and the back brain, three sides, three lines. I'd like to explain in another place. Barichas at length. Va'al kain omrim. Therefore, we say, now this is, we always want to be practical, how you can use this every day. In the prayer book, it says, one of the highest prayers is Yehi rotem milfanecha, may there be a new will in front of you. Now we're going to translate the words milfanecha, in front of you, in front of your face, right? Milfanecha, in front of you. What does that mean? Milifnei parsa, from before the curtain. If we're going to connect to before the curtain, there, the shnones merotin shel din lerotin shel chesed, we can change God's want from wanting judgment to wanting kindness, because we want revealed kindness. We all want revealed kindness. We just have to know where to aim our prayers. We have to go to the essence. But how are we going to get to the essence? We're going to say, we don't mean the right brain or the left brain. We want to go where there's negotiation. We want to go to a place which is able to bring everything together. God is unlimited, and he could achieve the same end state without the open strictness. In other words, God could achieve, he's unlimited, and therefore what we're experiencing in the end state, the good end state, which we're supposed to achieve, but through the strictness, God can figure out a way to achieve that same end state without doing open strictness, through good. So if he's able to do that, let me connect to that level before the curtain, which really is just a revelation of the hidden crown, which is Adam Kadmon, which is a revelation of the hidden crown in Akav, which is really a revelation of the Atmos, of the essence of God before Tzimtzum. That can change our reality, our experience of our reality. So let's answer the questions, the rest of the questions.
Okay. So, if the Romans respond to kindness, how do we deliver strictness?
We don't want to deliver strictness. Maybe we need to give teaching through kindness.
Next question.
But
Do we have to?
through teaching and kindness, you're gonna get a lot more with honey than with a strap. I mean, just think about educating children. When you give them a good time, are they going to learn more? Right? Probably that's the way to go.
Next question. Do we have to surround strictness with kindness to make it more acceptable to the children of the Romans?
I'm not going to say strictness. I have no reason to be strict. I'm saying discipline. Discipline for the purpose. The end state should be kindness. So yes, discipline needs to be presented in a package of kindness because it's for their own good.
Next question is regards to your statement about Kachala Machshava, that this is God says that this is what he thought and he can't really articulate it. Question here is, are you saying that some of our desires cannot be articulated rationally?
No, some things cannot be articulated rationally.
Right, so you're agreeing that some things cannot be articulated rationally?
Yes.
Okay.
They
so the
cannot
answer to the question. The answer to the question is yes.
Yeah. Yes, the answer is yes, and depends. If it's a desire for a higher purpose, not necessarily you can give a rational articulation for that. That's just because this is the right thing to do. Do the truth because it's the truth. Mm-hmm. That's the 10th. That's what the Rambam writes on the 10th chapter of Tshuva. He says some people are not up to this level yet, but you have to teach them slowly till they get to the point where they do the truth because it's the truth.
Okay, that's it for the questions.
Great.
I think it's an interesting point about the discussion today about the kindness and severity. So after this class, we do the videos where we talk about the Parsha. And so one person is a recipient. He says, well, he wants to distribute it on another list, but only if the videos are less than 10 minutes. So it's an interesting dilemma. If we're talking about a subject and out of kindness, we want to explain something, we're explaining it from different angles in detail and so forth, and a person is really going to be able to grasp it by the end of that time. Let's say it takes more than 10 minutes. Let's say it takes 13 minutes. On the other hand, if I do a 13-minute video that explains it to you fantastically, but then this whatever list that he would send it to doesn't get anything. You get 13 minutes well explained, the other group gets nothing. We do the video in 9 minutes, which requires a discipline, but the discipline is ordered to get a message across to the people on this potential list. So then we might sacrifice a little bit on the depth of the explanation for a current viewer that actually doesn't mind watching 13 minutes, but maybe it will reach more people. So that's just an interesting example of trying to apply this balance between chesed and gevurah and trying to, what's the right. So take us through that process. How would we evaluate that? Given that you talked today about the spheres and the different levels of thing, first you put it through one kind of processing and then to another processing. How would we run this discussion? How would we run this decision-making process?
Well, what's the kesser shebekesser? The kesser shebekesser, the crown of the crown over here is that I want the end state that the people should be able to have to reveal their own sense of what's right and wrong, their own crown. So and they shouldn't have to be told like every little thing. They should be able to now intuit or do their own processing of what's right and wrong. So and my end state is not to entertain the people. A lot of people just come on, they feel good, they feel entertained. I want to educate them. There's a difference between education, where I can put the man in a field and without my instruction, they'll know what to do because they are educated. They've learned enough nuances that when they're faced in a new situation, they know how to deal in that new situation because they've learned the nuances. That takes time. So I have to be strict with people and take up their time to give them the education that the kindness would come out, the end state will come out, that they are educated, that they know enough nuances that when a new nuance comes up, they'll know what to do.
Okay, so you're saying stay to the 13 minutes because that's going to give people more nuances?
No, I think 13 minutes won't give them, the hour is going to give the nuances to people.
Oh, okay, fine. So this video we're doing for an hour, but if we're doing 13 minutes of video and we shorten it to 9 minutes, we get a bigger audience. So what's the right answer there?
So,
how would you work through that using the system that we described before?
Because we're not achieving our end state. We're achieving a bigger audience in order to bring them in to the level where they become mature enough, they'll want to achieve their education and get to an end state. What they're going to get in 13 minutes is a nice thought and entertainment more.
So you're saying better 9 minutes to get more people in to then watch the longer stuff.
Yes. So that's already a lot. I'm not achieving my end state. I'm just trying to get them. I'm just being netzach and hoid. I'm being realistic that I can't achieve my end state because the receiver is not ready to receive. So I need to have the 9 minutes to convince them in the 9 minutes, hey guys, you need an education. And when you have an education, when you put effort, that's when you're going to be able to be educated and have your own nuances and reveal your own crown. But if I'm going to just give you sound bites, so I'm giving you just entertainment, sound bites. So maybe during those sound bites, I can convince them to put in more time, an hour, achieve something. Or they should achieve something, not that I should. See, if I get more people with 9 minutes, so I've got fame, but I'm not the goal, they are. I'm trying to make them, not myself.
We can't make them if we don't reach them.
Because we have to reach. So that's where that lower level chachma, not chachma will say, hey, we can't get them unless we reach them. Okay, so now we need to build tikkun in an organized fashion to create a balance, to be able to reach them, to bring them in order they should be ready to reveal their own keser.
Okay, two more questions. Two more questions came up. You mentioned two brothers who gave rise to different people who respond to strictness for kindness. What were the names of the brothers again?
So Esav, the father of the Romans, was internally strict fellow, and that's why he responded very well to the opposites attract, and he appreciated kindness. He appreciated being treated kindly, reacted very well to that. And the son, the uncle Yishmael, naturally the grandeur of kindness, but more the focus was grandeur, and he reacts very well to the opposite, to discipline. So if he's treated with discipline, gives respect to that.
Okay, another question. Where does making them work for their own freedom come in?
I'm just giving you an example of if I want to bring an end state where people are free, the best way to make them free is that they have to work for they have to actually work for their freedom, because then they're actually going to be free, not because I gave them freedom, because they chose it. That's who they are. So it's more of an enduring freedom when they work for it, right? I'm just explaining how the right hand becomes the left hand. Like if I'm facing another person, what is kindness for me may be strictness for him. What's strictness for me may be kindness for him. In other words, what's the end state? I might have to behave strictly in order to get to an end state of kindness or some sort of balance. That's the best. Yaakov, compassion, that's the best. I think it's important to use a mixture of kindness and strictness in each situation. Ask yourself a question: how should God help me? How can I have a proper balance of kindness and strictness in every situation, in order to get to the best end state? That's it. tonight is a very special night. Tonight is the very special night. It's the night of the 5th night of Hanukkah.
You want to go into the parsha segment?
No, I just want okay, just finish up that tonight is a night of light, or the 5th night of Hanukkah, and that light will give us the energy to balance all the emotions in a way that we get to the best end state. And let's stop now, and you'll speak about the parsha.